Liverpool fans, this one is big. Virgil van Dijk has broken his silence on Mohamed Salah's future, and the message is louder than ever. With £45 million transfer talks swirling, Trent Alexander-Arnold linked with a $40 million Real Madrid move, and fresh injury updates on key targets, the drama at Anfield is heating up fast. Stay with us as we break down every major update, every transfer twist, and what it really means for Liverpool's season. Let's get into it. Virgil van Dijk addresses Milos Kerkez exchange and sends Mohamed Salah new Liverpool message. Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk has praised the form of Milos Kerkez and assessed the situation of Mohamed Salah. It had unwittingly become a snapshot of the struggle for Liverpool's new-look side during the difficult autumn months earlier in the season. But the change in fortunes for both team and player mean any on-field messages directed from skipper Virgil van Dijk towards Milos Kerkez are now more likely to be complimentary than critical. Kerkez continued his impressive recent form, a man-of-the-match display, in helping the Reds see off Brighton on Saturday evening to progress to the FA Cup fifth round. The left-back's Anfield journey has not been the most straightforward since arriving for £40 million from Bournemouth in the summer as the long-term replacement for Andy Robertson. But Van Dijk believes Kerkez, who created the opener against Brighton for Curtis Jones, is starting to adapt to the unique demands of playing for Liverpool. "I think it is pretty clear you definitely see an improvement," said the Liverpool centre-back. "He is still so young and is getting used to being a Liverpool player. It is a lot more than kick a ball on the pitch, especially when the team has been inconsistent. It's not easy to play your best games. But with the help of Robbo and the rest of the team and his own development, I think he is making big progress. What I see is there's a lot to come for him to learn and improve, but that's a good thing. He just has to keep going. He has a lot of energy. He is young," laughs. "When we were young, we were always full of energy. He is eager to learn. The price tag you can't do anything about. When I joined the club, it was also like that. £75 million was a lot of money, but what can I do about it?" As partner to Kerkez on the left side of the defense, Van Dijk could regularly be seen earlier in the campaign expressing his views and imparting wisdom while offering some curt advice. It didn't always make for an easy watch, but for the Liverpool captain, the interventions were a necessary part of Kerkez's learning curve. "Of course I had chats because on the pitch we need each other, whether it's positioning or even today he presses as a full-back and I have to cover," said Van Dijk. "It's a collaboration that you obviously have to understand each other. And me and Robbo had that for so many years, and you still see that in our game. That is something that has to develop over games. Conversations are happening 100% behind the scenes and in games, like with the rest of the team, to try to be the best team and players on the pitch." Saturday also saw Mohamed Salah deliver one of his best performances of the season, laying on the second goal for Dominic Soboslai before winning, and then converting the penalty for Liverpool's third point 2 months earlier. There were fears the home Premier League win over Brighton could be Salah's last game for Liverpool as he headed off for Africa Cup of Nations duty a week after his explosive comments claiming he was being scapegoated for the Reds' poor form and had no relationship with the head coach Arnold. Relations have improved since then, with Salah having registered 2 goals and 4 assists in 7 games since returning from international duty with Egypt, and Van Dijk said, "MO is still so important for us. Last week he had an assist again and broke another record, and he is still the leader and important for me personally as a captain to have around and to have him on the pitch, and his presence benefits the team. He always gives the team more than goals." There's obviously a lot of focus on his goals at the moment, and that's also part of his life, because he puts the standard so extremely high. So when he doesn't score as much, he gets criticized. He has to stay calm and try to be important with everything he still can do, and there is so much still. He is important for us on and off the pitch. Nevertheless, there remain question marks over Salah's future with the Saudi Pro League believed ready to launch yet another bid for 33-year-old in the summer. "The situation is what it is," said Van Dijk. "The full focus is on trying to make the season a success first, and we will see how then the season ends, and then you never know what happens. I always wanted Mo to stay because I'm a good friend of him, and we've been through the highs and not so highs. I don't want to call them lows. Together for so many years. The same as me's got 1 more year, so we will see." Liverpool injury news, including updates on Alexander Isak and Jeremie Frimpong Liverpool, remains without several key players through injury following the team's 3-0 FA Cup win over Brighton, with Alexander Isak, Wataru Endo, and Jeremie Frimpong all sidelined. Liverpool continues to have several players sidelined due injury following the team's FA Cup victory over Brighton. The Reds secured a commanding 3-0 triumph over the Seagulls in the fourth-round fixture at Anfield on Saturday. Goals from Curtis Jones, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Mohamed Salah ensured Arne Slot's side progressed to the fifth round of competition. Nevertheless, Liverpool was compelled to field a squad without several injured players for the Brighton encounter, though Arne Slot fortunately avoided any new fitness concerns during Saturday's victory. Wataru Endo was absent from the Brighton match due to an ankle problem, while Jeremie Frimpong continues his rehabilitation from a thigh complaint. Alexander Isak, Giovanni Leone, and Connor Bradley remain unavailable with long-term injuries, with the Reds now turning their attention to February 22nd, when they will face Nottingham Forest in the Premier League in their next game. Here, Liverpool.com examines the team's current injury situation and potential return dates following their FA Cup win over Brighton. Alexander Isak. Isak is progressing in his recovery after sustaining an ankle injury and a fractured fibula back in December. Following surgery for the injury, Isak was photographed back in the gym and undertaking some light ball work at the AXA Training Center on Friday. There's no definitive timeline for when Liverpool hopes to have its summer signing back in action. Wataru Endo. Endo sustained an ankle injury during Liverpool's victory over Sunderland in the Premier League on February 11th. Liverpool is still awaiting to learn the full severity of the injury, with Slot recently providing an update on the Japanese international. We still need to do some assessments, but it's clear and obvious that he will be out for quite a long time, Slot stated on Friday. Don't forget that he's a good center back and a good midfielder as well. If you look at the number 6 position or the 2 center back positions, we are quite vulnerable there as well if something happens. Let's try to make sure the players we have remain fit. Jeremie Frimpong. Frimpong is currently recuperating from a thigh injury, which has kept the right back out of the last 4 matches across all competitions. Frimpong incurred the injury during Liverpool's victory over Karabag in the Champions League last month, with the expectation that the Dutch international would be out of action for a few weeks. Giovanni Leone. Leone sustained an ACL injury during his Liverpool debut in September and is anticipated to be out of action for the remainder of the season. Liverpool is hopeful that the defender will be fit for the start of preseason training in July. Connor Bradley. Bradley incurred a knee injury during the goalless draw with Arsenal in the Premier League back in January and is not expected to make a comeback before the season concludes. As a result, Liverpool is now hoping that the Northern Ireland international will recover in time for the commencement of pre-season in the summer. Mohamed Salah handed £45 million reality as Liverpool weigh up transfer decision. Liverpool star Mohamed Salah's company assets have increased to £45 million, according to the latest accounts. While speculation continues over his future at Anfield, Mohamed Salah has enjoyed a substantial financial windfall over the past year as rumors persist regarding his Liverpool future. Salah was amongst the goals for the Reds on Saturday evening in their FA Cup triumph over Brighton, though his future remains surrounded in uncertainty amid ongoing speculation about his next destination. Salah converted from the penalty spot as Liverpool secured a comfortable 3-0 victory in the fourth-round clash at Anfield on Saturday night. The Egyptian now has 7 goals across all competitions and will be eager to add to his tally when Liverpool resume Premier League duties next weekend against Nottingham Forest. With Salah demonstrating his importance once more for Liverpool following his return from the Africa Cup of Nations, the 33-year-old has received a significant financial uplift over the past 12 months, reports the Liverpool Echo. A report in the Times has stated that Salah's total assets rose to £45 million for the financial year ending June 30th. 2025, the report states, represent a rise of £6.2 million from the previous year. The Liverpool Forwards Company, Salah UK Commercial Ltd, disclosed the update in the most recent set of accounts. Salah's earnings from his image and commercial rights are understood to be handled by the aforementioned company, though it is not believed to include the salary he collects from Liverpool. In April of the previous year, Salah inked a 2-year contract extension pledging his future to Liverpool until summer of 2027. The January transfer window was rife with speculation that Salah might depart Liverpool before the deadline, with the Saudi Pro League frequently mentioned as a possible destination. Salah now has 18 months remaining on his existing Liverpool contract, and speculation about his future is increasingly focused on rumors that a summer exit could be in the horizon. Following his goal against Brighton, Salah received praise from Arne, with the Liverpool head coach offering a prediction about the future. It is very nice to have him on the score sheet again, but what I like the most is he is scoring goals you can almost expect, but he also helps the team a lot defensively, and that is something very positive. Slot said, "What the team also needs and is much more capable of playing every 3 days at an intensity level, and that is where we struggled at the start of the season, and we see more and more the quality we have. So the future looks really bright, and the recent 7, 8, 9, and 10 games are showing that." Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk makes feelings very clear on Mohamed Salah transfer. Mohamed Salah's long-term future at Liverpool remains in doubt, with links to Saudi Arabia not going away, but things have settled down since his return from the Africa Cup of Nations. Virgil van Dijk has made it clear that he wants Mohamed Salah to stay at Liverpool beyond the end of the season. Salah's future has been thrown into doubt by a falling out with Arne and continued interest from Saudi Arabia, and a decision needs to be made this summer. Salah accused Slot of throwing him under the bus during a period of poor form for Liverpool in December. The two put that argument behind them, and transfer speculation died down in January, with Salah's time at the Africa Cup of Nations with Egypt coming at a good time. The 33-year-old has started every match since his return from AFCON and has been performing well. Salah provided a goal and an assist in Liverpool's comfortable 3-0 win over Brighton in the FA Cup on Saturday night, and Van Dijk is in no doubt about what he wants. With Salah under contract until June 2027, the situation is what it is, said Van Dijk. The full focus is on trying to make this season a success first, and we will see how then the season ends, and then you never know what happens. I always want Mo to stay because I'm a good friend of him, and we've been to the highs and not so highs. I don't want to call them lows, together for so many years. The same as me, he's got one more year, so we will see, he added. And Mo is still so important for us. Last week he had an assist again and broke another record, and he is still the leader and important for me personally, as a captain, to have around and to have him on the pitch, and his presence benefits the team. He always gives the team more than goals. There's obviously a lot of focus on his goals at the moment, and that's also part of his life, because he puts a standard so extremely high. So when he doesn't score as much, he gets criticized. He has to stay calm and try to be important with everything he still can do, and there is so much still. He is important for us on and off the pitch. Slot is delighted with Salah's form and hailed a performance after a deft assist for Dominic Soboslai and a thumping penalty against Brighton. It's very nice to have him on the score sheet again, and him having an assist, he said. But I think what I like the most at the moment, that he's scoring goals, is something you can almost expect, but he also helps the team a lot defensively. That is something very positive, what the team also needs, and I think more and more players are now capable of playing at this intensity level every 3 days. That is where we struggled a lot in the beginning of the season, where it was sometimes hard for us to bring the intensity level once a week, let alone every 3 days. But now we're able to do so. We see more and more the quality we have. That's why I've said so many times already that the future looks really bright for this club with these players. And I think the recent 7, 8, 9, 10 games are showing that as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold facing $40 million Real Madrid headache. As speculation grows, Trent Alexander-Arnold faces a fresh challenge at Real Madrid as the Spanish team considers signing a new right back, with Manchester City and Bayern Munich monitoring his situation. Trent Alexander-Arnold has had a rocky stint at Real Madrid since his departure from Liverpool last summer, and now he could be up against a new £30 million, $40.9 million challenge. Spanish publication Defensa Central reports that Madrid is contemplating bringing in a new right back this summer. As Dani Carvajal's contract is due to run out at the end of the season, that Roma's Wesley Franca is reportedly a top contender to fill Carvajal's boots, with negotiations already underway ahead of the summer. It's also suggested that Madrid would be prepared to fork out around €35 million, $40.9 million, to secure the Brazilian services. Former Liverpool vice-captain Alexander-Arnold has already been linked to a move away from the Bernabeu, with Liverpool's rivals Manchester City keeping a close eye on developments ahead of the summer, according to Team Talk. Bayern Munich is also reported to be keeping tabs on Alexander Arnold. He made his comeback on Sunday, coming on as a substitute after recovering from a hamstring problem during Madrid's 2-0 La Liga victory over Valencia. However, he now faces increased competition for the right-back position, with Academy product David Jimenez getting a nod ahead of him before his return from injury. Whilst Carvajal's potential exit could pave the way for Alexander Arnold to take on a more significant role next season, Defense Essential suggests that Madrid's preference is for Carvajal to stay on for another year to avoid splashing out on a new right-back. However, the player is understood to be dissatisfied with playing second fiddle, despite interim head coach Alvaro Arbeloa opting to leave Carvajal out of the matchday squad against Valencia. He justified his decision and highlighted the defender's significance within the dressing room. "I don't need to explain the importance of Danny," Arbeloa said. "He's the one who always has something to say before and after matches. It's very important for the players to have a reference like him in the dressing room, and I'm sure he's going to find his best form. With the patience and effort we're putting in and his dedication, I'm confident that he's getting closer to regaining his relevance."